get connected.
Hi, this is Tristan from Get Connected at Showstoppers at CES 2012. And we've got something very special for you today. For those of you who may be fond of European-style board games, such as Settlers of Catan and Carcassonne, I have with me today the CEO and co-founder of Days of Wonder, the makers of Ticket to Ride. Thank you very much for joining us, Eric.
Thank you, Tristan. Good evening.
So, can you explain for our audience what European-style board games are?
Sure. So what happened is maybe 30 years ago, there's a new style of board game that started in Germany for the most part, where people focus on designing a new type of board games that were less confrontational than they typically do in the US, where you had no player elimination and that were fairly quick to play and designed for adults rather than just kids to play. And Ticket to Ride, which is our best-selling title, is an example of that type of design. It's a game that plays in 30 to 40 minutes. It's a game that is usually played by adults, or adults and kids together, not just kids all together. And that's really what German-style or European-style board games are about.
I think it's one of the reasons why people like them so much is because you can play a whole game together without people getting knocked out, unlike a game like Risk or Monopoly, where halfway through the game, half the players are gone, and it's not that fun for those people anymore, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's interesting because from a cultural standpoint, those games are extremely popular in Europe. If you go to Germany, you can go to the typical supermarket, and where you would see soup or yogurts in the US in big piles, you see huge piles of board games. And it's perfectly acceptable for people when they are invited by some friends to bring over a new board game instead of a bottle of wine. And what they'll do is they'll give you the board game, but more importantly, they'll teach you how to play the board game. Because truth be told, what's fun is to play board games. What's not so much fun is to learn board games. And that's why we do also electronic versions like iPad versions or iPhone versions of the board games. It's mostly to help people learn the game in the comfort of their home without being intimidated.
So Ticket to Ride has been available on the market for...
It started shipping in 2004, and we were lucky we won an award called the Spiel des Jahres, which is the prize of Game of the Year in Germany. And the game has been a tremendous success ever since. We've sold just about 2 million copies between 2004 and now.
And so now what devices is the electronic version of Ticket to Ride available on?
So initially the digital version started on the PC and the Mac. And then when Steve Jobs announced the iPad 2 years ago, we said, okay, that's the perfect device. That's a device where you can actually sit on a plane or on a bus or in a car or around the table and play the game without having to worry about the pieces moving too much and taking too much space and so on. So we came out with a first title, Small World, on the iPad, and then shortly thereafter we came out with Ticket to Ride. That's been available since May of last year. And then more recently, we actually found a way to shrink this big board game and this iPad version onto the iPhone. And so just last November, we started we launched a new version that actually plays on the iPhone itself. So we found a way to shrink that big board game onto a device as small as this one.
Remarkable.
And people can play from one platform to the other, so people can play between the iPad and the iPhone. They can set those aside and play with the physical game. It's available everywhere.
Best of both worlds. Fun for the whole family. So this has been Days of Wonder. Thank you very much, Eric, for joining us. And this is Tristan signing off for Get Connected at Showstoppers at CES 2012. We'll catch you next time.
Gotta get connected.